The urge to look at someone else's life and measure it against your own is a deeply human reflex. Whether it is a colleague's promotion, a friend's travel photos, or a stranger's perfectly curated social media feed, comparison happens almost automatically. Evolutionary psychologists suggest this trait once kept us safe. Early humans used social comparison to understand their place in the tribe and ensure their survival. But in the modern world, where we are exposed to the polished highlights of thousands of people every day, this survival mechanism has misfired, turning into a chronic source of anxiety, low self-esteem, and discontent. Stopping the comparison cycle isn't about erasing human nature. It is about retraining your brain to change its focus. Here is a practical, step-by-step framework to help you break free from the comparison trap. 1. Audit your triggers. Comparison rarely happens in a vacuum. It is usually sparked by specific environments, habits, or people. To stop the cycle, you first need to identify what sets it off. The digital world. Social media is a curated highlight reel, not a reality. If scrolling through a specific person's profile consistently leaves you feeling inadequate, use the mute or unfollow button. The real world. Notice if certain conversations, like talking about salaries, real estate, or relationship milestones, trigger feelings of insecurity. The action step. For 1 week, pay attention to the moments your mood drops. Write down what you were looking at or who you were talking to. Once you know your triggers, you can intentionally limit your exposure to them. 2. Shift from upward comparison to internal progress. Psychologists distinguish between two types of comparison. Upward comparison, looking at people we think are better off than us, and downward comparison, looking at those we think are worse off. Upward comparison often breeds resentment, while downward comparison offers only a temporary, fragile ego boost. The only healthy metric is an internal one, comparing yourself today to who you were yesterday, instead of, they are so much further ahead than me at 25. Try shifting to, look at how much more confident and skilled I am now compared to 2 years ago. When you track your own growth, your learned skills, your overcome hardships, your personal milestones, you ground your self-worth in reality rather than someone else's timeline. 3. Practice compersion and reframe envy. Envy is actually a powerful data point. Instead of viewing it as a negative emotion to be repressed, treat it as a map showing you what you truly want. If you feel a pang of jealousy over a friend's creative project, it might mean you are neglecting your own creative outlets. Furthermore, try practicing compersion, a concept borrowed from relationship psychology that means feeling joy when others succeed. When someone else wins, it doesn't mean you lose. Success is not a finite pie. Someone else having a slice does not mean there is less for you. Reframing their success as proof of what is possible, rather than a reflection of your lack, changes your internal narrative from scarcity to abundance. 4. Ground yourself in the whole story. When we compare ourselves to others, we commit a massive cognitive error. We compare our messy, behind-the-scenes footage with everyone else's polished public trailer. You see the successful business, but not the sleepless nights, the failed ventures, or the strained relationships that built it. Everyone carries invisible burdens: grief, health struggles, anxieties, and doubts. Remembering that every human life comes with its own set of challenges makes it much harder to romanticize someone else's existence at the expense of your own.
Comparison thrives on a mindset of lack. It forces you to focus entirely on what you don't have. The most direct antidote to lack is gratitude, which forces your brain to acknowledge what is present. Neuroscientific research shows that actively practicing gratitude stimulates the brain's reward pathways, releasing dopamine and serotonin. By making a conscious effort to acknowledge the tangible positive aspects of your own life, your health, a good cup of coffee, a supportive friend, a roof over your head, you train your brain to find contentment in your own reality, leaving far less room for the comparison trap to take root. A final thought: breaking a lifelong habit of comparison takes time. Be gentle with yourself when the thoughts inevitably creep back in. Acknowledge the thought, remind yourself that you are looking at an incomplete picture, and gently steer your focus back to your own path. Your story is entirely your own to write, and it doesn't need to look like anyone else's.